So my third and final point, how can we ensure that we will continue to move forward and not stand still or even worse, moving backwards? There is still work to be done to ensure, of course, that these specific challenges faced by women in Ireland, in Europe and at the world at large are being addressed. I have 3 recommendations. First, we need to aim for better representation. I believe it's high time to redress the gender imbalance in politics and move to a more representative democracy in Europe. Currently, half the population is underrepresented around the policy-making tables of Europe. And this is bad for democracy and it's bad for society. I think there can be no modern democracy without gender equality. The Lisbon Treaty would confer more power on the directly elected European Parliament, so it will become all the more important to express your democratic vote in this arena. And I'm encouraged by the increase of 4% in the total number of women elected to the European Parliament in the June elections, but it's a very small step forward and needs to be reflected in the other institutions of the Union. Second, women need to set the agenda. The important issues of childcare, maternity leave, care for the elderly, domestic violence and gender discrimination are very often labelled women's issues. Yet they are vital to society as a whole. And I of course urge you to continue asserting your rights and pushing for a new political and social agenda by voting and lobbying both local and national politicians. I also firmly believe that if the current economic crisis requires fresh solutions, a female perspective in business and finance would be a good start, as witnessed maybe by the recent appointment of 2 women as heads of the 2 new Icelandic banks. So I don't think that was a coincidence. And thirdly, we must also think globally. We need to be an active voice against gender violence in countries and in places such as Darfur and the Congo. And across large parts of the world, conflict has blighted a whole generation of women and destroyed families. And here too, women need to be better represented in peacekeeping and peace processes. And it's still so bad, both the United Nations and also the European Union. We have too few women that we send in those delegations or as peacekeepers and mediators. So there is so much more to do in this area. And I think it's the women's organizations that can play the decisive role in ending conflict. And again, in Somalia, I know that women formed the 6th clan, because there were 5 clans, but they were all men. The women were never heard in the peace negotiations, so they formed the 6th clan. Maybe we have to be the 6th clan. We need to press for decisive action on climate change. And the evidence shows again that it's the poorest women who are hit the hardest by the floods and droughts that are the consequences of climate change. And I met some of them when I was in Liberia earlier this year. And women said to me, we don't know that it is called climate change. Most women don't know, but they know something is wrong. They know something is wrong about the weather. They don't know when to sow their crops. And they don't know, is this forever, or do we have to change? Do we have to start earlier? Should we do it in a different way? And communication, information, education is so important to the people that are out there and have to meet these challenges every day. And we also decided that there should be, we hope there will be an organization called Men Who Fetch Water, because it's the women who have to fetch the water. They have to walk for kilometers every day. So wouldn't there be an organization with men who fetch water? And then a woman came up to me and said, yes, there are men who fetch water. They're called vendors. So they do it only if they can sell the water. And the same is true for those who wash up clothes. They do it as a business, but they're not for the family. And of course, we need to support women who defend freedom of speech and women's rights, often at the risk of their own lives. Courageous women such as Faseh Hashimi in Iran, or Bakhtiar in Pakistan, or Aung San Suu Kyi in Burma. I think together we can make a difference to women, whether in Ireland, in Europe, or further afield. And we can only do this by being actively engaged and supporting the political processes that give us a voice to make change possible. So I hope that you will use the power you have as citizens at the local, national, and European level to effect the changes to the position of women that we all want to see. And first and foremost, thank you for all the important work that you're already doing, and thank you for coming here and listening to me. Thank you.